This small but hefty $40 accessory might be all that you need in most situations. But is it actually useful, or is it more of a gimmick? Let's go over the good things and the bad things that I've noticed while testing this product. Starting with the good, of course. The first thing is that it's always gonna be with you. As long as you have a Magsafe case or an iPhone that has Magsafe built in already, you can just stick it onto the back and it's gonna stay there until you pry it off because it's a pretty strong magnet. The second thing is that it's easy to take on and off. Not easy as in it falls off type of easy, but easy as in you can just slide it off and slide it back on whenever you need it. And that's gonna be a lot easier than having a dedicated tripod where you have to slide in the phone or screw in the phone depending on what type of tripod you have. And it's also better than phone cases that have dedicated kickstands on them because it's not changing the shape of your phone if you don't want it to. The third thing is that when all things line up correctly, it's actually pretty stable. If there's no strong winds or if you're not in an unstable surface, it's gonna be pretty stable for the most part. There is gonna be a little bit of swaying back and forth, but that goes away after a couple of seconds. So as long as you put like a 3-second or longer timer on your phone when you're taking a picture, it's gonna come out super steady. And the fourth thing, as you're able to see behind me right there, is that it actually handles heavy phones. I put it on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold just to prove the point that it can handle some good amount of weight because that's the heaviest phone I have. So it'll handle the S24 Ultra, definitely any iPhone out there, especially the newest ones that have titanium instead of stainless steel. It's gonna handle it pretty well and it's not gonna have too much play. And with the standard phones that have the magnet closer to the center of the phone, it's gonna behave a bit better as well. The fifth thing is that you can actually use it as a selfie stick. It doesn't really matter what the weight of the phone is because if it's handling the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, you're gonna be able to use it with pretty much any phone. And since you're holding it, it's not gonna be susceptible to tipping over because you're able to control that weight on your hand. So that's gonna work regardless of which phone you have. Number 6 is that you can use it as a stand, basically a kickstand or even a phone stand when you're in an office that's maybe not yours or just wherever you want to use it really. So to use it as a stand, you just shape it as an L and then you can use a phone either in landscape or portrait orientation and it's gonna work fine. And this won't just apply to just an office or anything. You can actually use the kickstand mode in an airplane because it's gonna be steady enough for that as well. Maybe not the tripod mode, but definitely the kickstand mode in airplane is gonna work. And the 8th thing that I found to be a positive is that it stabilizes your phone when you have it flat on a surface. So with the camera bumps nowadays, the phones are never truly stable. As soon as you press on one side, you're gonna feel it wobble. So by putting that behind it, it puts a large surface and it's relatively flat. So it removes that wobble, and since the keyboard is towards the bottom of the phone, you're gonna be able to type perfectly without any wobble. Of course, if you put enough pressure towards the top, it'll wobble, but that's not really a place where you put a lot of pressure when you have the phone lying flat. Now, before we're going to the bad list, if you're enjoying this video and want to see more videos like this, click on the like and subscribe for future videos. Now, the first negative thing is probably the most obvious one. It's gonna add some weight and some bulk to the phone when you have it on. So even though a lot of people put cases and big cases, this will probably be a little bit bigger than that anyway. And since it has a little bit of weight to keep it steady and be able to handle the phone's weight while it's in the tripod mode, it's gonna add that same weight to your phone when it's closed. So it is gonna change the way your phone feels either in your hand or in your pocket. But of course, it being magnetic, you can just take it off and either separate it or not have it on whenever you don't need it. The second thing, and it's not really a knock on the company because they really designed it for iPhone, is that it doesn't really work too well with clamshells, at least when they're unfolded. Because of the way the clamshells are designed, the magnet is in the center of the bottom half, which makes that top half really heavy and far away from the magnet. So when you place it on there, it wants to tip over pretty much every time. Now the magnet is strong enough that it doesn't twist or slide down and up, so that's a good thing, but it's still gonna topple over unless, yeah, it's gonna topple over. What I did find is that it was still useful for clamshells if you want to record yourself in the horizontal position. If you keep it closed and you record yourself, it's just a perfect scenario really for the tripod and for the phone, and you could keep it in horizontal mode instead of limited to vertical with the folding technique. The third negative is that depending on where the magnet is placed on the phone, it can actually extend past the phone. So it's not gonna be very easy or comfortable to carry in some phones. I imagine with most phones it's gonna be fine. It's just these two examples that I have, it doesn't work that well. Clamshells, of course, because they're shorter than the product is itself, so it's gonna extend no matter what. And then the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, because they moved the magnet or the wireless charger down, so then by that the case has to move the magnet down, and therefore it extends past the bottom a little bit. So I think for the most part it's gonna be fine though. The fourth thing is the material, and not that it's a bad material or that it won't last. I actually think it's gonna last pretty good amount of time, most likely as long as your phone, except for one portion of it, and that's gonna be around the hinge area. So in the hinge section, there is a piece of material that kind of folds with it and unfolds with it, and that just seems like a breaking point. Now, is that really gonna affect the functionality? I highly doubt it, but it just might look a little bit ugly once it breaks and starts looking a little bit worn. So it's a negative more visually. I don't think it's gonna affect anything else besides that. And even then, it's not something that's like for sure a given. It just looks like a weak point in the design for the material. The fifth thing is that it has a hinge. So that is a point of failure right there. And I don't know how long that's gonna last. I haven't used this product long enough to see if it's gonna break down or not. Maybe in the future I'll be able to see that, but it's a weak point, so it's possible that it might start failing. And not necessarily that it comes off, more that it'll start, maybe folding a little bit when it's not completely straight. Number 6 is that it's not the most stable thing out there. Obviously, it's more of a convenience thing than a ultimate, all-terrain product type of thing. But, if there's a wind that's strong enough, it could knock over the phone. And if there's slight wind, it could cause some rocking on the phone. And if you put it somewhere that's not fully flat, completely flat, there's a chance that it could topple over. So it's something you still have to be careful, but once you set it down and you do it right, it's gonna be useful and is way better than not having a tripod to begin with. So who would benefit from this product? The first person that I could think of is the on-the-go creator. If you're someone that likes to either create photos or videos, even if it's just for yourself, having that tripod attached to your phone pretty much all the time will be beneficial, so that you never leave home without a tripod at least. The next person that could benefit from it is pretty much anyone that does not have a folding phone, because it's gonna give you some of that functionality that you can get with a folding phone, but on a regular phone. And then the third person that came to mind is a business professional that might be traveling a lot. For example, if you travel to an office pretty often, you don't want to be taking a bunch of stands and accessories for your phone. You can just take this one thing, and you have the stands for the plane ride to watch your videos, and then you have the stand for your office. You can have your phone placed there and keep an eye on it for messages or whatnot. It's not a perfect product by any means. It definitely has its flaws, but it's kind of like a stopgap between having the tripod there or your stand there and then not having it at all. It's always there with you, and even if it's not the best of each of those items, it's a decent one and it's gonna be with your phone. It's definitely not a direct replacement for a tripod, but I could see it being a direct replacement for a kickstand or a phone stand. I think it's definitely good enough for that. Tripod is more of you have it there with you and it's gonna work, but a regular tripod is gonna work better. So this product is gonna be more of a all-in-one type product, and it's gonna help you to lighten your load when you're traveling. I think that's the biggest thing. Anyone that travels or does things on the go is gonna find this beneficial. So overall, it actually does seem like a legitimately useful product. It's not a gimmick, even though I could see future versions of this being improved on, and I hope it does, because there are a few things that it kind of can do better. If you own this product, let me know if you're seeing any issues long term. And if you're interested in buying the product, I do have an affiliate link in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.